Hey, it's Nick, and in this video I wanted to talk a little bit about the differences between the two most common professional film scanners, the Noritsu and Frontier Mini Labs. So I am just going to cut to the chase here and say that there is no easy conclusion I can give you and just say that this one's better than the other. They're both great. You know, they're both going to give you files that are professional quality, so really it comes down to the way they interpret colors. That's the kind of different thing between them. Either one's going to give you good enough results to give to your client if you're going to be making medium or even large size prints. But in this comparison, I can show you the same images scanned on both scanners, and you can see for yourself the different color palette differences and just the kind of subtle differences between them that might make you choose one over the other. To do the comparison, I had the same roll scanned on both scanners at a professional film lab. They used the same reference images and my same preferences between them, so they should look pretty similar. There will be some differences just because they were scanned at two different times and possibly by two different people, but the instructions were the same. So this is sort of a comparison of what results would you get if you told the lab to do the same thing but use two different scanners. Pulling up some of the files, the first thing to know is that there isn't any meaningful difference between resolution for the common 35mm and 645 formats. There might be more of a difference when it comes to 6x6 or 6x7. I know that the Noritsu machine really gives you a much bigger file for 6x7 scans, so that might be a factor if you're shooting that format. But for a lot of people who are shooting 135 or 645, you're going to get good enough files from both. The actual pixel dimensions of the files are probably going to vary a little bit, lab to lab, or scanner model to different scanner model, but for the most part, like I said, they're probably going to all be good enough for what you need to do with them. Most people are going to be shooting, if you're commercial, you're shooting weddings or events or portraiture, in which case most of your files will be fine for that. If you're shooting just for fun, or if you're shooting art or street or whatever, it'll probably still be good enough for that. It might be if you're shooting landscapes or certain fine art photography where you're going to want to make a massive print that you might want to go even higher resolution. So at that point, either get a drum scan for a really special project or shoot 6x7 or something where you're going to get higher resolution out of that Noritsu scanner. As I said earlier, the biggest difference is in how these two machines interpret color. In the examples that I have here, you can really see the difference in the shadows. The shadows of the Frontier image are going to be darker, they're going to be a little bit cooler, and they just are a little punchier. They give a contrast between the warm highlights and those cooler shadows. Whereas the Noritsu image, I find to be a little bit smoother, maybe a little bit more naturalistic in its approach to color. The shadows are pretty much the same color as the midtones and the highlights, so if you add warmth in the scanning software, you can kind of be sure that it's adding it to all of those areas. I've personally used the Noritsu scanner to scan hundreds of rolls, so I'm pretty familiar with the way that the scanning software works and what's available for you in terms of the corrections that you can make. I've also sent tons of my work to a lab that uses the Frontier, and while I haven't ever scanned on a Frontier myself, I have an understanding of how it works. So with that in mind, it's still hard for me to articulate the actual differences between these because it's hard to distill how each scanner is going to react in each photo. One place that I do see some differences is in the rendering of skin tones. You can really see in the files here that it's kind of subtle, but if you really look, you'll see that the Noritsu file has got this kind of smooth quality about the skin tone. It's all very peachy, it's all very smooth in terms of there's really no extraneous colors, it's all that one kind of range. If you look at the Frontier, you're going to be getting that peachy quality, but also more yellow creeping in. It's kind of interesting if you look here. Whether you prefer one or the other is up to you. I know that the differences could be attributed partly to the person scanning the film. They could have done the color balancing differently, but I still do think that even if you set them very similarly or didn't correct them at all, the scanners would be picking up different colors within that range and emphasizing different colors. Another place you can see a pretty big difference is in the handling of greens. In the Frontier scan, you're getting a much cooler kind of minty green, and the Noritsu is giving a warmer sort of yellowy green. One's not going to be better than the other, but in terms of what I was expecting, I kind of wanted that minty green look that goes with the 400H I was shooting to contrast with the warm skin tones. Again, either is good. I kind of prefer the Frontier here. So overall, this is just a one roll test and your results will vary. I encourage you to send your work to a lab that can use both scanners, and then you can see how your work is going to look on the two different machines. For consistency's sake, it can be nice to get used to the color palette of one scanner on one film stock with one camera and exposing one way, and then branching out from there. So if you know that you always want to use 400H or Portra or whatever kind of film, you get used to the results, and then you know, okay, if I really want that look, I know how to achieve it. You know, I want that nice, warm, bright Noritsu airy look, or I want something with a little more punch, a little more contrast, so I'm going to be shooting Portrait 800 and scanning it with the Frontier. But really, you could kind of keep using both. You know, you can go project by project, you could choose which one's best for your needs. I think as long as you know what to expect from either one, then that gives you, just a greater vocabulary in which to kind of massage the palette of your film tones. You know, we're all here because we love the way film looks, so ultimately if you think that your film looks best on one scanner, then just keep using that one. So let me know in the comments if you have strong feelings one way or the other. I know that scanner choice is a pretty hot topic amongst photographers, and some people think it's even kind of a secret sauce that's going to make your photos look way better if you shoot and then scan on one scanner versus the other. I don't think that's the case, but hey, why don't we chat about it? Thanks for watching, and if you want to see more cool film content, please subscribe and I'll make some more videos for you.